Six shot, Byron Allen, to be or not to be. So Comcast is challenging the Civil Rights Act of 1866 in the Supreme Court on November the 13th. And Byron Allen says that they are attacking our civil rights and we should get mobile and vocal to defend it. Now, I'm not sure that this is the case. So is it real or is Byron Allen crying wolf? Talk Black 360. Six shot.
Just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships. They knew death was better than bondage.
So if we are in jeopardy of losing something, then what is it? Especially if we're talking about the Civil Rights Act of 1866, because if we actually had it, we wouldn't be fighting to defend it. Listen, Malcolm X said, if you're a citizen, then why are you fighting for civil rights? But let's talk about Byron Allen. If you want black people's support, we're going to have to review your application. So in the Breakfast Club, DJ Envy asked a very, very interesting question. Take a look.
But make it be known that you're aware of this and you're not happy about it. Hey, Comcast, David Cohen, Brian Roberts. Hey, Tom Rutledge at Charter. Don't challenge our civil rights. That's not right. Let's sit down and let's figure it out.
With people, I just want one last question. With people that look like you and that came from similar situations as you,
Yes.
How are you helping those individuals?
Absolutely. That's a great question. And I do plenty of that. I mean, just sitting here and just speaking with the community and making sure, please understand your civil rights are at stake. Your civil rights.
I'm not black, I'm OJ.
Right? A lot of folks wouldn't take the time. They just do what they do. There are plenty of folks out there that say, I'm rich, I got mine, get yours.
All right.
I'm not that person.
Clearly.
It's easy not to sit here. It's easy. I can go sit on a yacht in the south of France right now.
I'm not black, I'm OJ.
Okay, and I know plenty of folks who are doing that. But I'm sitting here saying, we deserve better, we can be better, and we can do better, and here's how we come together.
Okay.
So when asked, what have you done for black people? The response was, just sitting here is doing something for black people. As a matter of fact, I could be sitting on a yacht out in south of France. Okay, let's dig deeper.
That's right. So I sued Comcast and Charter, and at one point, the NAACP, Al Sharpton, and the Urban League. Because I said to them, look, guys, I can't have you out here signing things on behalf of black people and saying, well, after you've taken donations from them, let's put that, like you've taken donations from them, and and now you're going to sign something saying this is what makes you good with black people. That doesn't work. You don't speak for me. You speak for yourself. I speak for me and no one else. Walmart has given money to Al Sharpton. Walmart doesn't spend any money in Ebony Magazine, and they barely do business with me in a long-term partnership, and I'm constantly going back and forth with Walmart and Chrysler as well. So he is the least expensive Negro. The numbers are just follow the money. Don't do business with real African-American owned companies. Just make a token. Give him $50,000 and a bucket of chicken, and we're good.
Wow. Wow. No judgment. So I guess the question is, what is he actually trying to accomplish? Why is he talking to us now? Did he finally get his Negro wake-up call? Let's take a look.
Now, if you don't come to us in a racist way, and you don't look at us like a bunch of monkeys looking for a banana, then you do it the same way you do it with all white people.
You just pay them.
No, you settle it up. You settle the case, and then it's dropped.
Right.
And so they didn't come
Settle
to
means
it.
There's no offer of a settlement.
Pay it. Whatever it is, you settle it up. No, I told my wife when I met her almost 20 years ago, she said, what are you doing? I said, I'm building the world's biggest media company. The world's biggest media.
Can you do that? Well, yeah, you can. I'm about to say, can you do that putting out black content? Because I haven't heard you mention any black content.
But what I've always said, and I've said to, young kids, you know what? I don't want to play in the Negro leagues. I'm going to play in the global leagues. I bought the Weather Channel to make it very clear to all of Wall Street, look at me as a global player, not as a black player. I'm global and I happen to be black. And there's a big difference. So my assets are global. So
It could be either or, though, right?
It could be either.
You got somebody like Tyler Perry.
Tyler's amazing.
Unapologetically,
I love him.
Caters to the black audience,
and that's a great business.
He's a global brand,
and that's a big brand. But the assets that I'm purchasing, I'm making sure that they have the ability to be global.
So we're establishing what he's saying, but this next clip really struck me as disingenuous. So your reasoning is because you don't want white influence. Now, this was his reasoning of why he's doing what he's doing. It is because he doesn't want white influence on his black daughters. Watch.
Let me ask you something. As a white man who has children, are you comfortable with me controlling the images of your daughters and how they are produced and how they're depicted and how they grow up looking at themselves? Are you cool with me having 100% control over how your white daughter sees herself? And he said no. And I said, great. I said, I expected you to answer the question that way. Now understand me as a black man and my black daughters. Now that they're here, I'm going to take a seat at the table and I'm going to control how they're produced and how they're depicted and how they grow up and how they see themselves. Because at this moment in my life, nothing is more important to me than them.
All right. I genuinely want to understand, how do you make the argument that you don't want white influence on your daughters? Okay, I mean, with all of the money and all of the time you spend building this global empire, I mean, I could think of just, one way that you might be able to get some black influences on your daughters. All right, listen. I'm not rich. Hell, by most measures, I'm broke, okay? But I'm definitely no dummy when it comes to business. So I could spot a hustle a mile away. So here's something to think about when you're watching this next clip. And then I'll put all of the pieces together for you. But watch this.
And then a buddy came to me, and a guy who's satellite at my networks. Success begets success. And he came to me and he said, can we have dinner? And I said, sure. And we sat down. He says, you don't realize this. Before I was the CEO of this satellite company that satellites our networks, he said, I used to be the chief operating officer of the Weather Channel. And he said, you should buy the Weather Channel. And I said, okay. And he started talking about it. And I said, okay, let me get into it. We got into it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to buy the Weather Channel. And I called a guy up and I said, we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to buy the Weather Channel. And I said, it generates quite a bit of capital. And I need $310 million.
Oh, so you didn't use your own money?
I didn't use my own money.
Oh, okay.
I borrowed it.
Okay. So before I get into this, I just want to make a note. When Sharpton and Morial were actually getting money from white folks to fund their nonprofit organizations to advance the interest of black folks, they were cheap Negroes. Remember? Give them a $50,000 check and a bucket of chicken. Okay. But let me tell you the hustle. So a guy who he happens to have a lot of respect for comes to him and says, hey, I used to be the chief operating officer or the chief financial officer of the Weather Channel, and I think you should buy it. It's a good deal. So they sell him the Weather Channel for $300 million plus. Now tell me something. When's the last time you watched the Weather Channel? Not to mention, the Weather Channel had sold previously to the people who he bought it from for $3.5 billion. And guess what? It was a fire sale that he was participating in because they had already sold off the the internet, or at least the web-based properties of the Weather Channel, to IBM. So it sounds to me like this guy's gotten taken, and now he's trying to call us to his rescue. And I know people are going to say it's more complicated than that, and yes, it is a little, but hey, we're just checking the resume. So how did he fall for this? That's what I want to know, because he's a smart guy. He's definitely made some money. He's put himself in a position to make money. But how did he fall for it? And I would offer to you that, look, this guy needed an African-centered curriculum just like Kanye, because he's definitely out of his African mind. But let's take a look and see how he actually fell for this. This guy's name is Roger King. Look at this.
And I learned this from a guy, God bless his soul, Roger King. And Roger and I became good friends. The reason you have Oprah is because of Roger King.
Mm-hmm.
And I pitched him. And he said, wow. He said, I heard you were a great salesman. He said, you really are a great salesman. And that meant a lot to me, because Roger's the most successful at that point. He says, I can only think of one guy who was a better salesman than you. And I said, who's that? He said, my daddy. And he said, my daddy loved salesmen. He says, matter of fact, he opened his drawer, his desk drawer, and he pulled out a tie. He said, this tie belonged to my daddy. I want you to have it, because my daddy would have liked you a lot.
Google Roger King, and then you'll see why they probably saw Byron Allen like buckwheat. Google him and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So with all of this, let's get to the point. Why are we having a conversation about CRA 1866, the Civil Rights Act of 1866? Where did it come from? How did it get on the table? Watch.
We use the Civil Rights Act of 1866, Section 1981. This is the original Civil Rights Act in America.
So now, on November 13th, we're standing in the Supreme Court in a Donald Trump era, where we've got Donald Trump's DOJ arguing against us to take the original, the first civil rights statute, and eviscerate it.
Hold on now, Mr. Allen. Now, given the makeup of the federal courts, aren't you concerned that this new case can undo civil rights for a whole generation?
It could take us back to 1865, all minorities.
So is it worth it?
I didn't petition to bring it to the Supreme Court. They did.
We use the Civil Rights Act of 1866, Section 1981. This is the original Civil Rights Act in America.
I'm just going to tell you. You want to know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like that French actor, Juicy Schmollé.
The attacker, masked, and he said, this MAGA country punches me right in the face.
Juicy Schmollé. All right. I am so sorry. I mean, okay, so the 6-shot turned into a 12-shot, but I just had to get all of this information in there. But seriously, I don't have a problem with black people getting rich in America. In fact, I encourage it. I'll even go out and buy some stuff that I don't even like just to do my part. But in my opinion, this is a Byron Allen fight. This has nothing to do with the civil rights struggle. So you leave your opinion down below. Remember, like, share, and follow Talk Black 360. This has been your 6-shot. Ashe? 6-shot.
Just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships. They knew death was better than bondage.